Google Search Console, best practices for use. Why B2B teams should treat Google Search Console like a revenue tool. If you're leading B2B sales or marketing and you're not checking Google Search Console, GSC, at least weekly, you're operating blind on your biggest inbound channel. Organic search drives 53.3% of website traffic, and roughly 68% of online experiences begin with a search engine. In other words, before prospects ever reply to a sequence or pick up a call, many of them have already told you what they want in Google. GSC is where that intent becomes visible. The conversion math is just as persuasive. SEO leads are often cited at around 14.6% conversion versus about 1.7% for traditional outbound. That doesn't mean you abandon outbound. It means you stop guessing and use GSC to inform what we say, who we target, and which pages must perform to keep pipeline healthy. The market reality. If you're not winning in Google, you're missing buyers. In 2025, about 90.4% of global search engine traffic flows through Google. For most B2B categories, organic search performance effectively means Google performance, and GSC is the closest thing you'll get to first-party truth about how Google is seeing and serving your site. Visibility is brutally concentrated. The top 3 organic results capture roughly 68.7% of clicks, while only about 0.63% of users click anything on page 2. That's why GSC is so valuable for revenue teams. It shows you exactly which high-intent queries are stranded at positions 8 to 15, where they might as well not exist. It also explains why so many sites feel like they blog a lot without getting results. An Ahrefs study found 96.55% of pages get zero organic traffic from Google. When we audit a site, GSC helps us quickly separate needs-time content from content that's mistargeted, not indexable, under-optimized, or simply not competitive. Set GSC up so it answers sales questions, not just SEO questions. Start with a domain property, not a fragmented URL picker view, so you can see performance across protocols and subdomains in one place. That matters in B2B, where your marketing site, app, knowledge base, and partner content often live on different subdomains, and your buyers don't care which one they landed on as long as it converts. Next, connect GSC to GA4 so query and landing page performance can be evaluated against engagement, demo submissions, contact forms, and assisted conversions. GSC tells you what Google delivered. Analytics tells you what those visitors did. Your CRM tells you whether that demand turned into meetings, opportunities, and revenue. To keep this operational and not SEO theater, define a simple ownership model that matches your go-to-market reality. The table below is a practical way to assign GSC insights to the people who can actually move them forward. Use the performance report as your early warning system. Most teams open GSC and stare at total clicks. That's a mistake. The performance report becomes a revenue dashboard when you segment it. Separate revenue pages, pricing, demo, product, integration, high-intent case studies from blog content, and split brand queries from non-brand queries so you can see net new demand instead of just awareness. Then, look for 2 patterns that reliably produce wins. Pattern 1 is high impressions, low CTR, which usually means your title tag meta description isn't matching intent or your snippet is being outcompeted. Pattern 2 is high impressions, average position 8 to 15. Where small improvements can move you into the click zone. Remember, page 2 gets only 0.63% of clicks, so even a modest ranking lift can change inbound volume quickly. Finally, Treat query language as sales intelligence. If prospects search SOC2 evidence automation instead of compliance platform, that's not an SEO detail. It's messaging data you can carry into decks, demo talk tracks, and outbound sequences. When we run programs as a B2B sales agency, we use those exact terms to tighten cold email agency copy and SDR scripts so outreach sounds like the buyer's own internal monologue. When GSC is disciplined and routine, SEO stops being a black box and starts behaving like a predictable pipeline lever. Fix technical issues that quietly kill conversions. GSC isn't only about rankings. It's also your best conversion protection system. Coverage and indexing issues can remove pages from the funnel entirely, and page experience/core web vitals problems can turn high-intent clicks into bounces before a prospect ever reaches your form. The business impact can be dramatic. In Google's own Core Web Vitals case studies, Redbus saw performance improvements contribute to an 80 to 100% increase in mobile conversion rates. That's why our best practice is to treat CWV work like revenue work. Prioritize fixes on pages that produce meetings, demo, pricing, comparison, integration, before you chase perfection on low-intent blog posts. A common mistake is fixing what's loud instead of fixing what matters. If an engineering team can only tackle one thing this sprint, use GSC to prove which revenue pages are failing CWV, which templates generate the most errors, and which issues correlate with drops in clicks or CTR. That's how you make technical SEO feel like a rational backlog decision, not a debate. Turn GSC intent into outbound meetings without guessing. For B2B teams, GSC can fuel outbound as much as inbound if you operationalize it. Queries reveal pain, urgency, and alternative/competitor consideration. And that's exactly what your SDR team needs to personalize messaging beyond generic, just checking in outreach. Here's the practical workflow. Identify non-brand queries that map to your ICP's problems, tie them to the best landing pages, and mirror the language in outreach. At SalesHive, we've booked 100,000 plus meetings for 1,500 plus B2B clients by using this kind of intent signal to sharpen list building services, cold call services, and email personalization, especially when a client is using sales outsourcing or an outsourced sales team and needs consistent, scalable talk tracks. This is also where a cold calling agency or SDR agency can outperform internal teams that don't have time to connect the dots. If GSC shows a surge in searches around a new feature or emerging problem, we can translate that into targeted account selection, updated sequences, and refreshed B2B cold calling services scripts in days. So your outbound sales agency motion complements your SEO instead of competing with it. Best practices and common mistakes to avoid. The simplest best practice is cadence, a weekly review for trend detection and a monthly review for prioritization. Weekly, watch revenue page clicks, impressions, CTR, and position for your highest intent clusters. Monthly, decide what to ship, content refreshes, internal linking, technical fixes, based on which opportunities are closest to page 1 and which drops threaten pipeline. One of the most expensive mistakes is obsessing over averages. Site-wide average position can improve while your demo page loses clicks. Brand traffic can rise while non-brand demand collapses. Blog traffic can grow while buyer intent pages stagnate. Always segment by page type and by query intent, and keep a short list of pipeline pages that you treat like product assets, not blog posts. Another mistake is treating GSC as marketing only. The fastest teams give sales leadership and RevOps read access, align definitions, what counts as a revenue page, what counts as a high-intent query, and review GSC alongside meetings and opportunities. When your sales development agency or SDR manager sees the same data as marketing, it becomes easier to justify headcount, hire SDRs intelligently, and prioritize the sequences most likely to convert. Advanced optimization. Compound gains from content, links, and validation. Once the basics are stable, use GSC to drive compounding improvements. Start with near-win pages. Update copy to better match query intent, add internal links from authoritative pages, and strengthen topical coverage with supporting content that answers adjacent questions. The goal isn't more pages, it's more relevance and better pathways into your highest converting pages. Then, tighten execution with disciplined validation. Use URL inspection to confirm indexing after major updates. Watch how CTR changes after title meta tests, and monitor whether schema enhancements generate richer snippets. When teams skip this step, they can't tell if a change worked, so they default to more activity instead of better results. Real-world case studies show why this matters. Saramin reported 102% year-over-year organic traffic growth during a key season and a 93% lift in new member signups after investing in SEO improvements guided by Search Console data. The takeaway for B2B is straightforward. You don't need hundreds of experiments, you need the right few measured consistently and tied to conversions. Next steps? Build a simple GSC-to-pipeline operating system. The highest leverage next step is to define what success means in revenue terms. Pick a small set of pages and query clusters that influence meetings. Then, track impressions, CTR, and position in GSC alongside conversion rates in GA4 and stage progression in your CRM. That's how you stop reporting on traffic and start managing a funnel. From there, keep your backlog honest. If the top 3 results capture 68.7% of clicks, moving a single high-intent page from position 9 to position 4 can outperform publishing 10 new posts. Similarly, if core Web Vitals issues suppress mobile conversions, fixing template-level performance can create step-change outcomes, like the 80 to 100% conversion lift seen in the Redbus case study. Finally, connect inbound intent to outbound execution. When GSC shows what buyers are searching for, your sales agency, telemarketing, and B2B sales outsourcing efforts can reflect that language, especially across cold calling services, SDR sequences, and LinkedIn outreach services. That's the loop we build at SalesHive. We use GSC insights to help your team prioritize, personalize, and consistently convert interest into conversations without waiting months for results.